Welcome to the Smart Connector, a podcast for entrepreneurs who put people first. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss an episode. In our podcast, we'll be looking at the power of authentic connection and how it can build your business success. We feature interviews with leading entrepreneurs and offer strategies to bring power to all your relationships, including the one you have with yourself. Be a smart connector too, the architect of your amazing business and life. This is the fourth episode of my podcast series on business influence and persuasion, in which we look at the principles that the psychologist Robert Cialdini explained in his famous book, Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. In this episode, we're going to look at the liking principle. We're more likely to accept requests from people we like. It's a universal truth that people we like have more perceived credibility than those we dislike. We just find them easier to believe. This explains why we trust word-of-mouth recommendations from our friends or peers, as well as things that are endorsed by our favourite singers, actors, social media influencers or bloggers. Liking people has a huge impact on how we make decisions, and entrepreneurs who understand and act on this have far greater influence and persuasion over their customers and prospects. This means they're more likely to buy from you. People we like often have similar beliefs, interests and language to us. So in order to make someone like and accept you, you should always emphasize similarities, not differences. So for example, if someone has an authoritative, booming voice, raise the volume of yours to match. If someone speaks slowly and quietly, lower your tone and pause before speaking. If they're sharp dressers, dress to impress. If they lean in when they're speaking to you, lean in too. If they talk a lot about their children, ask them questions about them and express some uncontroversial thoughts on child rearing too. You get the picture. So the liking principle works through physical attractiveness. So make your website and brand materials well designed, appealing and relevant to what you're selling. If you're strong on personal brand, put care and effort into your physical appearance. A nice background can go a long way too. Remember how important similarity is. Get someone to like you by behaving like a friend, not just a business partner. Show people that you can relate to and understand them by behaving in a familiar way. Talk from the heart to make them feel as though they already know you better than they do. There are specific techniques to do this, which I will cover in future episodes, as men in particular can be poor at this. Talk about your day, your feelings, random or funny things that happen to you, but most of all, ask them questions and really listen to their answers, because in these answers you'll find your gold. You'll find out what matters most of all to that person, and then you can talk through these things to get them on side. If you're not sure how to do this, remember that most people just launch into a conversation by talking about themselves. Turn this around and keep the focus on the other person entirely. If you want them to like you more, respond to what they say by asking curious and open questions, so they really feel the full glow of your attention. It's incredibly powerful. They probably think you're charming, and they'll love you for it. People sometimes don't ask questions because they don't want others to think they're probing. And in this respect, remember that people are more perceptive than you think they are. The difference is in the intention. Why are you asking the question? As long as the purpose is to seek clarification or to get to know someone better, and as long as you have no intention to manipulate them against their best interests, their guard will stay low and your questions will be well received. The liking principle also works through alignment and cooperation, fighting for the same causes as your friends or customers. Nothing builds rapport and closeness like good old-fashioned teamwork. Take a stand for or against something that the people you want to influence also feel strongly about. It's incredibly bonding. Think about the enjoyment you get from being with people who you can discuss your interests with. Other simple ways you can get people to like you include using their name frequently, touching them on the arm, laughing and smiling in their presence. And remember, attention is the most precious asset of all. Taking it further and to provoke even stronger emotion, you can hold your gaze, stand a bit closer, touch someone more or for longer, tease them, compliment them sincerely, and so on. Of course, this can flip over into more flirtatious behaviour, but since this is a podcast about business, I won't go there. Just always remember, people say yes to those they like. Liking also improves the outcome of negotiations. In a series of studies carried out between students at 2 business schools, some groups were told time is money, get straight down to it. In this group, around 35% were able to come to an agreement. The second group was told before you begin negotiating, exchange personal information with each other, find a similarity, something you share in common, and then begin negotiating. In this group, 90% of them were able to come to a successful and agreeable outcome. Then that was worth typically 18% more to both parties. Win-win. We've talked mostly about getting people to like you face-to-face, but online or when dealing at scale, the same principles apply. Get to know and understand your customers. Set up feedback loops to find out what they really care about, and be responsive, act on their answers. Are there causes or principles they're particularly committed to? What's their greatest pain and how can you help them solve it? What would they like to see more of or less of from you? Keep a dialogue going to get your customers to like you better. People hate being ignored, so don't erode loyalty by being lazy and taking them for granted. So that's the principle of liking. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast and found it useful. If you've enjoyed it, you might like to listen to our next one, which is all about the authority principle. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Smart Connective podcast. I invite you to follow me on social media or go to www.janebayler.com to book a discovery call and learn about our exciting mentorships, masterminds and retreats. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.